Hey guys, welcome back to Nightwing Comics. Today I'm going to be talking about Nightwing 118. Tom Taylor's run is finally over after 3.5 years, and this issue being delayed, it is done. It's finally done, and I am so happy about this. As Dick told Heartless, I'm just over it. That's how I feel. I'm just so over it. I'm so ready to move on, and I am really excited about Dan Water's run starting next week. So I actually have two videos coming out shortly that's going to discuss the entirety of Taylor's run, but I decided that I wanted to give this issue its own video. Also, stick around until the end because I'm going to be giving my thoughts on two other issues that came out this week, both of which featured Dick Grayson. So let's get into this. So all in all, kind of disappointing. I was like, that's it? Like, why was this even delayed a month? My guess is the artwork, but still, it was only 24 pages. It wasn't even a double-sized issue. It didn't feel very big. Like his Titans finale, it was just kind of meh. It's like, okay, well, that just happened, and I guess we're done now, which, again, I'm so glad for, but I kind of wanted more. But of course, Nightwing couldn't quite do all this by himself. He had to have help rescuing the kids, which I get to a certain extent, but it just felt like it was over way too fast. I feel like this final issue could have actually been like a couple issues, and then Nightwing could have done more without the others' help. Like he could have freed the kids by himself and then taken on Heartless maybe. But instead we have to involve the entire Bat family, which I love the Bat family. I'm not 100% opposed to that, but I don't know. It just felt too easy for some reason. I just don't feel like there was any like trials or tribulations. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to get this in the first try. We're going to rescue the children. We're not going to make any mistakes. We're going to figure out where they are right away. And now we're going to go take down Heartless, and that's that. That's the end. Dick being willing to reveal his secret identity, I guess, is okay, especially it'll save others. But I'm not so sure he'd do it simply to clear his name. I mean, it makes sense for him to show up when Heartless is giving this speech as Dick Grayson to prove, hey, Dick Grayson's actually not Heartless. But then, of course, Heartless threatens to reveal his identity, and Dick's like, well, that's fine, you can do that, I know who you are, kind of thing. So that worked, I guess. But Dick is so protective of his secret identity that I do take a little bit of issue with it. But again, if it comes down to revealing his secret identity or saving lives, he's going to save lives. He's not going to even blink. So in general, I am not a fan of this whole Fallen Grayson final arc. I think it's actually really stupid. I have major issues with the whole fear of heights thing, which I am going to expand on in a later video. But we could get confirmation in this issue that Heartless did specifically engineer the fear toxin to give Dick a fear of heights. But I'm like, how? How is it even possible? Like, even with comic book logic, it seems like a bit of a stretch. I don't believe Scarecrow has ever been able to do this, and it just seems so convoluted and ridiculous. Like, how did Sheldon even know he had a fear of heights, or did he just give him a fear of heights because he was an acrobat and he wanted to stop him? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of pieces had to line up for everything to fall into place exactly how it did, and just, it's so convoluted and annoying. I'm not a big fan of writers bringing Zucco into Dick's present. I prefer that he stay in Dick's past and be part of his origin. Granted, Kyle Higgins is the first one that did this when he retconned it so that Zucco had actually faked his death, and now Taylor is using him. So that's only 2 writers, so Zucco hasn't been overused. But now he's dead because Heartless killed him. Heartless even taunts Dick by saying that he took his chance to get justice by killing him, which I guess, but it's not like he hadn't caught and jailed Zucco before. But I guess now he had the proof, the actual proof that Zucco murdered his parents, where before it was kind of like circumstantial evidence. They didn't actually have that hard evidence that they needed. But it's still in public record now because Zucco was arrested for the death of the Graysons, and I gotta believe that Dick handed over that evidence. But aside from that, bringing Zucco back to me doesn't really have a big point because Dick is not driven by anger and vengeance. He's driven by justice. So when he encounters Zucco, yes, he's going to do everything in his power to arrest Zucco and make sure he's back in jail. But he's not going to do anything more. I mean, I guess you can kind of play with him like, should I kill him? Should I not? But of course, Dick's not going to kill him because, again, he's not driven by anger. That's not who he is. He's going to do the right thing, which we actually even saw earlier in Taylor's run when he did originally arrest Zucco. Dick thought and was tempted to permanently end him, but he didn't do it because, again, that's not who Dick Grayson is. I did appreciate Heartless when he asked, "Are you angry, hero?" And Dick responded with, "I'm just so over it, over you," which, again, I 100% agree. I am so over this run. I am so over Heartless. I'm just ready to move on. As much as I found Haly kind of annoying during this run, I didn't want her to get shot. Like, I'm very thankful that she didn't die, as much as I do kind of want her to go away and just disappear. At least he didn't kill her. I definitely don't want her to die. I'm a huge animal lover, and just even watching her get shot was just like, oh my gosh, what just happened here? Like, it was kind of shocking and honestly very, very hard to look at. But I kind of hate that she was involved in the fight at all. Like, when he took the dog to the park to confront Heartless, I was like, come on, really? Just like when he took the dog on the quest. I'm like, come on, really? Why does the dog have to go everywhere? Like, can't the dog just stay home? And this is why I kind of find her annoying. But he has a gun pointed at him, and she's the one who attacks the gunmen. So it seems like he can't even handle fighting his villains without the dog, which is just, it's annoying. It kind of makes him look incompetent, but whatever. As for the final showdown, it was kind of a letdown. It's like, we waited 3.5 years for this? I mean, Dick does take down Heartless. You do get to see him get a good couple licks in. But then Heartless's heart gives out, and it's just like, are you kidding me? It's also kind of annoying that they keep killing his villains. Like, I want Dick to have a bigger rogues gallery. He deserves to have one, but they keep killing them instead of leaving them for other writers to then play with. I think Heartless is actually an interesting villain, and I think he could have been a little bit more interesting under a different writer. I feel like he had potential, but no, now he's dead, so I guess that's that. I mean, I guess it's comics, so someone could bring him back to life, but it's just kind of annoying. Of course, Dick didn't kill him, because he wouldn't. That's not who he is. I mean, he even asks him, how do I save you? It's just that his heart gives out, and Heartless kind of refuses to tell Dick how to save him, so Heartless just dies, and it's just kind of like, this whole run just kind of ends with a whimper, and it's just so not satisfying. I did find it interesting that they mentioned that Blockbuster's heart, which Heartless had stole and was using, was from a gorilla, which is pulling from Chuck Dixon's run. But then Tarantula killed Blockbuster after that during Devin Grayson's run, so how is he still alive? I mean, this continuity, man, it is such a mess, and this is the stuff that bothers me, because they have told us that they have restored the continuity, so basically everything that has happened is supposedly in continuity now. But at the same time, then it's like they're picking and choosing what's in continuity. Ever since the New 52. The continuity before the New 52 kind of drove me a little nutty too, but not as badly as after the New 52. After the New 52, it drives me insane because they're picking and choosing what they want to be continuity. They are putting story over continuity, and I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I want them to go back to regular continuity. Honestly, if they want to reset the universe before the New 52, I would kind of be okay with that. As much as there are good stories after the New 52 and stories that I do like, especially with Nightwing, I would be okay with it because I could just kind of consider those other worlds. I feel like if we went back to New Earth and picked up right before the New 52 launched, we could kind of get things back on track. But unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen. So going down the long list of things that bothered me about this issue, Dick comments that he hasn't visited his parents, and the reason was because he always knew he was the target. I'm just like, ugh, I hate this. And I don't understand how this is something he would have repressed. Dick says, I'm sorry I haven't visited before now. I think part of me always knew it was supposed to be me, and the guilt kept me away. I don't get this. I don't understand what the point of this is. Why are we changing this? It does nothing for the character. Besides, he has visited his parents in the past. This is so dumb. Yeah, he doesn't visit them like Bruce does. He doesn't go on a certain day at a certain time every single year or every single month or however often Bruce visits his parents. I actually don't know the answer to that. But that's because he's not stuck in the past like Bruce is. He was able to move on, and that doesn't mean that he didn't love them. But again, he's not stuck in the past. He's not driven by anger and revenge. He's driven by justice and the love that he feels for his parents. And this just doesn't go into that. This whole repression thing is so stupid. Why is it affecting him now? If this was something he had always known, this doesn't make any sense. And how could he have always known that he was the intended target if he didn't know about his parents' history with Zucco before this? It's just so frustrating. I feel like Dick would have already dealt with his survivor's guilt. I think, yes, he could have had some survivor's guilt after his parents died. I think that's natural and that's normal, but he would have already dealt with this. So the fact that he repressed that he was the intended target just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why he would A, repress that, because he already would have had survivor's guilt and dealt with that, and B, why it would be affecting him now. He is, for all intents and purposes, moved on. And again, that doesn't mean that he doesn't love his parents and doesn't miss them, but he's moved on. This should not be affecting him this way. And this is why I hate this Fallen Grayson stuff. Well, it's a big part of why I hate it. I honestly hate the whole adding in the fear of heights thing. The one bright spot in this issue, the one thing that I did actually enjoy, is actually towards the end when Dick is at his parents' grave and he's talking to them and he tells them that he hopes to marry Barb someday. I loved that. I love this relationship and I really, really want to see it keep going. This is the one thing that Taylor did right in his entire run. I am so happy that he put these two back together. And Dan Watters, please, please, please don't break them up. They deserve to be together. You can do other trials and tribulations. You don't need to have a breakup in your run. I wouldn't say it was the worst finale. It definitely could have been worse. I mean, honestly, Dick could not have defeated Heartless. Heartless could have got away. So it wasn't terrible. I just feel like it was a little quick. And it doesn't feel very satisfying. It was kind of disappointing and lackluster. And honestly, it follows the pattern of the rest of Tom Taylor's run. This is kind of how I felt when I got to the end of either an issue or a story arc. Like, it's just like, okay, it's over. That's it. It either felt too fast, was disappointing, lackluster, or frustrating. Frustrating is another thing that I find myself saying when I'm talking about Tom Taylor's run. I'm just so glad it's over. I'm so ready to move on to Dan Watters next week. Nightwing 119 cannot come fast enough, and I'm just hoping to wash this bitter taste out of my mouth. Before I end this video, I do want to quickly talk about two other books that came out this week, Titans 16 and Batman and Robin Year 1, number 1. So let's start with Titans issue number 16. This is the start of a new creative team. It's going to be written by John Layman and illustrated by Pete Woods. The first issue was decent. I'm not as big of a fan of Pete Woods' artwork as I was of Lucas Meyer. I thought his artwork was gorgeous. I don't think there's anything really wrong with Pete Woods' artwork. I think it's just going to take me a little bit of adjusting because I just loved Lucas Meyer so much. I still hate that Titans Tower is in Bloodhaven. I want the Titans out of Bloodhaven. They need their own city again. I'm really hoping this is going to be the case. They do have their own wing of the Justice League Watchtower, so hopefully they're kind of going to move out of Bloodhaven and operate there. So most of the rumors I heard were true. As I said, the Titans have their own section of the Justice League Watchtower. Dick is stepping down as leader, and Donna Troy is going to be taking over, which, as much as I love Nightwing as the leader, I'd rather have him step down right now and hopefully focus more on Bloodhaven. I want him solo in his solo book. I really don't want the Titans popping up. If anybody, maybe the Bat family occasionally, but I really want to see him do some solo stuff, with the exception of Barb. It does look like Arsenal is back on the team, which I wasn't expecting. I do think that's going to be interesting. Wally and Garth are both stepping back. Wally is stepping back because he's going to be focusing more on the Justice League now that Barry doesn't have his powers. And I guess Garth is wrapped up with something in Atlantis. This is a little bit of a bummer for me. I know it was rumored Wally was going to be taking a step back, so that's not too surprising. Garth is kind of the surprising one for me. I do love both these characters, and I am going to miss them. But I think bringing Arsenal back will be interesting, especially the way that he is establishing the dynamic between Roy and Donna. So I am kind of interested to see how that plays out. I do think we're off to a good start. I'm interested to see where we're going to go with the Clock King. Of course, Taylor's run also started off pretty well with the mysterious death of Wally West. But we'll see. Fingers crossed that it's good. We really haven't had a good Titans run since the beginning of Rebirth, and we are so long overdue for one. So moving on to Batman and Robin Year 1. Now, originally I was looking forward to this series. I'm not the biggest Mark Waid fan, but his Batman Superman World's Finest has been pretty good, especially his characterization of Dick as Robin. I have enjoyed that, so I was kind of hopeful about this. But after reading the first issue, I'm not so sure. Like, I love Robin Year 1 and Nightwing Year 1, which of course are both written by Chuck Dixon. I'm not the biggest fan of Batman Year 1, but this Batman and Robin Year 1 sounded interesting. This first issue was alright, but things are still being set up. I do have a few problems right off the bat. So first, Dick only lost his parents 3 weeks before this first issue, but now he's Robin. This seems a little fast. In previous stories, it was like 6 months to a year before he became Robin, and I like that timeline a lot better. I don't feel like Batman would throw him out to the wolves so quickly. I feel like he would be a little bit more cautious. So I don't like, this is more of a little nitpick, but I don't like that they've set this 3 weeks after Dick's parents have died. It seems too rushed, it seems too fast. This issue also implies that Zucco was already brought down within those 3 weeks. Batman's internal monologue says catching his parents' killer was an ending and a beginning. This is obviously implying that they're done with Zucco, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but the 3 weeks, again, is such a short time frame. You're telling me Dick lost his parents, was taken in by Bruce, and they've taken down Zucco in that time frame. I feel like it should be a little bit longer. And he's become Robin on top of all of that. It just feels like he needs a little bit more training before Bruce would let him out in the field. The second thing that I take a little bit of issue with and makes me a little bit nervous is Alfred's comment at the beginning. He says, but at young Richard Grayson's core, he smolders with rage. Now, I talked about this a lot in my Dan Waters video, but Dick should not be driven by anger, so I'm not sure what to do with this. Yes, after his parents died, he was hurting and had anger inside of him, which made him impulsive, which we do see a bit in this issue, so that's good. But I really don't want to see him lose control and be driven by anger at all. I do think that Dick might have struggled with anger initially, but I do think it has to have been within the first year. And I do think that's something that Bruce kind of helped him control and helped him realize that he couldn't be driven by anger, and that he also it's not really in Dick's nature to be driven by anger. I think that's the only way that I can really put it. It's not who he is. This is something that Jeff Lemire did in his Robin and Batman mini, which I kind of struggle with. The way he set it up, though, Dick was emulating Bruce, or he thought he was emulating Bruce by giving into this darkness, but then he realized that that wasn't who he is and he couldn't be that way. So he decided that he was going to be himself. So with the way that it ended, it kind of came full circle and I was kind of okay with it, but it's definitely not my favorite Robin story. I don't like when he's betrayed dark and angry because I just don't feel like that's who Dick Grayson is. Again, when his parents initially died, he did struggle with a little bit of anger and definitely wanted that vengeance. But he got it though. Zucco has been taken down, and I do realize that it's not like a magic thing. It doesn't necessarily make him feel better overnight, but it should help him over time let go of that anger and vengeance. And I don't want to see him lose control. I really don't want to see him as an angry Robin. He needs to be more in control of this. Throughout the years, there have been numerous quotes where it does talk about an anger burning in Dick's heart after the initial death of his parents, which is also part of why Bruce took him in, to help him. But Dick also helped Bruce. Dick Grayson is the light and hope to Batman's darkness. So again, I'm not saying that there's not an anger there. I just think that the writer needs to be careful how they handle it and how it manifests. So we'll see what happens as this series continues. So those are my thoughts on Nightwing 118, Titans 16, and Batman and Robin Year 1, number 1. And now I'd love to hear yours. Please leave them down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, as always, please like and subscribe for more comic book content coming soon. Bye!